have you ever bought or sold businesses before?
Yeah, so I bought my first one this year.
Congrats.
So my wife and I, yeah, thank you. It was an interesting experience. So my wife and I have a business in the parenting space, like parenting and newborn development and stuff like that. And so we started a brand new blog, and one of the things I wanted to do was accelerate that process. So I actually bought a small blog from Flippa. 99% of the reason I bought it was for the backlinks. So it cost us about $1,500
Okay.
for that one. It was generating no revenue or anything,
Yeah.
but had a bit of traffic, had some reasonable backlinks, had a lot of junk in there too. And I probably butchered the due diligence process. But yeah, we ended up buying it and doing that.
Congrats. So $1,500 got you some backlinks. Sometimes you can buy one backlink for $1,500. Obviously,
Right.
it depends on the backlink, right? So your goal was to buy one for the backlinks, but tell me about your experience in the purchasing of it. How was it? What was it like to go through Flippa? What was it like to do due diligence? And what do you think? I don't know. Like, I'm open to the discussion.
Yeah.
Like, do you have any questions for me as well? Like, I'm happy to help if I can, because I'm sure it's valuable for people listening.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was going in pretty blind. Like, I'd read a little bit here and there, and I'd started different websites in the past and built them up in terms of traffic, but I'd never bought anything. So it was interesting going to Flippa, and like, it was kind of a bit of a black box, man. I'd heard things about Flippa too. Like, I was looking everywhere, like MicroAcquire and, lots of different places. But I found this one on Flippa very cheap. It was kind of a no-brainer to do. And yeah, I'd heard about Flippa in particular as being one where you've got to be really careful with due diligence. And to be honest, at that price point, I kind of just looked through the backlinks, checked to make sure it wasn't full of spam. There was a couple of, I had a couple of DR80s, I think 2 DR80 plus, and then, and then probably 10 at 40 to 50 plus, and a bunch of others. And so I just went, oh, well, like, worst case, I lose $1,500. Let's do it, and we'll see how we go. So probably not the best, in terms of following that process. If it was a $10,000 plus purchase, definitely would have done things differently.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And so is it generating any traffic?
We're just starting to get traffic now overall. So I redirected all of that, rebuilt a few pages that were relevant and, directed those links directly, but the others just generic 301 redirects to either we've taken over this site page or directly to the homepage. It was really, I don't know, it's been weird. We got good traffic to start with, like it built pretty quickly, and then it kind of just dropped off a cliff. And I thought, have we been penalized? What's going on? And then it picked up again, massive spike, dropped again, and now it's picked up again. So no manual penalties, nothing like that. I don't know what's going on, but it's growing quickly. Definitely quicker than if we started,
and how
brand new domain, fresh site.
How old was it? Yeah,
it was brand new. So, the existing website that we bought, it was like 5 to 6 years old.
Oh, okay.
It's been around for a while.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
And what DR did the domain have that you on the site that you bought?
Yeah, it was 30 something, 36-ish, I think.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
not
really
too bad.
Good. It's kind of like buying an expired domain, but it's not expired.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I was looking at it. I was like, it's kind of like buying an expired domain. The content was pretty rubbish. I wasn't really interested in that. So literally, it was the domain and the links.
Yeah. So you bought a domain, and I'm glad that we sort of clarified that, because people are listening in and they're new to the space and like, oh, I could buy a site for $1,500.
Right.
For people listening, please understand what your goal is. And I get this regularly in just conversations with people in our community. People forget what their goal is, and then they hear something and go, oh, I could do this or I could do that. And it's not actually that strategy or vehicle is not going to help them get to their goal. For example, if their goal is to buy an online business that makes them money so they can replace their income, if you're going to buy a $1,500 domain or small website, chances are that it's still at that 90% failure rate, and your goal is to make money. Your goal through this domain or site that you bought was not actually to make money. So you understood your goal, but most people may misinterpret what they should be doing towards hitting their goal. And I'm a big believer of buying something for 5 to 10K plus, or save at least until people can get to that range, because then you have some more meat on the bone and you've got a proof of concept, because 90% of the stats are that 90% of all starts fail. So, and people that do this, I mean, you're in the space, right? You've been in online business for a while. People that do this, most people that do this are brand new, and to buy something that's a startup and it's brand new, you've got a lot of work to learn around, like.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Right?
100%.
Yeah.
If I bought this site with the goal of like making money with it, and just building it out and making money, I think it would have been a terrible purchase. But when you look at it through the lens of, I was only buying it as an accelerant. Like I was just going to get this thing and it was a shortcut instead of building links and waiting, to kind of, I don't know if the Google sandbox is really a thing or not, but,
Yeah, it is.
we had a brand new domain. So like instead of waiting 6 to 12 months to kind of get out of that Google sandbox and then paying to build links essentially, whether it's through my time or purchasing them through a service, I just $1,500, buy this thing, plug it in, and it's an accelerant for that, other website versus expecting to build out this thing and make money for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Congrats, man. That's great. So
Cheers.
you bought a site and you're building your blog as well. And it's helping with that. But I got you on for a completely different reason.
Right.
to talk about paid ads. People would have heard already in the intro about your career and what you actually do.
Yep.
And I've got a lot of questions around paid ads. You're mostly helping people with Facebook ads, or do you do Google as well?
Primarily Facebook or Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And so I wanted to ask you, what's, I wouldn't say typical, but what's one of your standout sort of case studies of a client on the results of where they were when they came to you and the results you got? Because I'd love to break that down. And typically when we do this in a podcast, going through the steps helps people go, oh, wow, like these are the things that I could go, they're the steps that I could take to help my business improve. And we're talking about mostly e-commerce businesses, right?
So for me, I mostly do courses, coaching, consultants, all of that kind of stuff.
Digital products.
Digital products, okay. Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. All right. So let's get into a case study. So probably one of my favorites was we started working with a company who was selling they were selling a digital product, online course, $497 in the business space. When I started working with them, they were spending probably like $2,000 to $3,000 a month, and they were doing okay. Like they were, profitable on that. They were probably about 2 to 1 on their ad spend. So, a few $1,000s a month in profit on that ad spend in terms of course sales.
That's good.
Yeah, not bad. Like they were quite happy with that. But every time they tried to scale, they were really struggling. So I came in, we started working with them. And within 3 months, we really started to scale pretty quickly. And we can break down, I'll give you a high level overview of kind of what happened, and then we can break down, like you said, into how we actually did it.
Yeah, cool.
Within 3 months, we're spending around $20,000 a month on those ads. And, we're well above 2 to 1. So we're about $50,000 a month in profit on that.
Awesome.
Within 8 months, we'd grown that one. We're spending 6 figures. So we're spending $100,000 a month plus at better than 2 to 1. So we're hitting like 3 to 1 return on ad spend on that one.
Cool.
And then there were multiple things we did across the board with that. So something else that I focus on is we look at the Facebook ads, obviously in great detail, but I also like working with businesses to help them look at, well, how do we actually increase our revenue per email subscriber that we're bringing in? And how do we increase our, overall profitability so that we can spend more on ads without chewing into margins and really squeezing the net profit?
A lot of people don't do this very well, I believe. I love email. Most of the people that join my membership or our membership is through email because I love email marketing. Whereas most people are like just spend money on ads and try and get people in with retargeting ads and stuff like that rather than putting some emphasis on like, hey, do some remarketing via your email campaigns. Is that what you're talking about there?
Exactly. Yeah. And looking at like what's happening when people are coming into your email list. Like,
what's the journey?
Are you just sending them 5 emails and saying, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing, and then never talking to them again? Because that's not really... That's not really an effective way to do that, right? Let's say you're spending $8 a lead. If you email them 5 times over the course of a week, try to sell them your thing, and then you never touch that lead again, and you go out then just continually buying leads, there is so much money left on the table because you could be spending time, it doesn't cost you the cost is marginal to keep, in touch with these people through your email list and email them on a weekly basis or whatever and nurture those people and eventually get them decent percentage of them to become customers.
Yeah.
Versus just continually buying new leads with this very short-sighted approach to sales in mind.
Yeah. And even that 5 part email sequence as soon as somebody gets on your list is very short-sighted as well. I just don't feel it's a lot of people in society, but also a lot of people in businesses just don't know how to play the long game and feel like they need the instant gratification. Yeah, spend, tens of thousands of dollars, in this case, 100 or so K a month on ads, but wait 4 months and have them be on your email list and like, hey, let's just be mates and hang out on the email list and let me share some cool things with you until you realize like I'm a good dude. Like, come and work with me, sort of thing.
Exactly. Like, hey, I actually know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I'm not just here for like one and done, buy my thing, and then I'm never going to talk to you again. Or, I'm actually here to provide helpful information, regardless of whether you give me money or not. Right? Like, it's crazy the way people do it. It goes back to that saying. They always say it's much cheaper to sell to an existing customer than it is to acquire a brand new customer.
Certainly. Yeah, I will see. So we run sometimes YouTube ads, and with that, we'll have people just stay on the list for, listen to my podcast for a year. And then they'll go, I've just been listening and watching for a whole year. And it's like, it's my time now to go. Sometimes that when people opt in to a free thing from a Facebook ad as well, is like they want it, but they might not actually be ready to purchase the course or in the right time period because like they just had a baby, or they're about to get married in 2 months or something like that, but you're not running emails and they're not on your email list. You've just wasted that money spent on acquiring that lead, right?
100%. 100%. And you think of what percentage are actually going to be ready. Like when you're talking about at scale, the number of leads you're trying to acquire, it might be like 5% are actually ready. And then of that, how many are actually going to trust you enough to buy from you within 5 days? That the percentage drops even more. And then people go, well, I wonder why my Facebook ads aren't profitable. Like we need to change, tweak this, tweak that. And it's like, well, it might be overall strategy versus just tweaking something, in the ads.